Assalamu alaikum. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the topic of descriptive writing or descriptive essays. The hallmark or the most prominent features of descriptive writing are vivid verbs and sensuous language. Vivid means very clear, and sensuous means the words which are appealing to your senses, which are appealing to your five senses. So, in descriptive writing, we are actually describing something or someone, or you can either describe a place, a person, an event, something, or some experience. So you are actually describing something, but you have to describe it in a way that the description should appeal to the reader's senses. We say that in descriptive writing we paint a picture, but this time the picture is not with the colors, the picture is not with the visuals, the picture here is with the words. So you need to select your words very carefully and appropriately at the same time, because whatever words are you going to select, these words are going to create an image in front of the reader. So now you will be responsible to paint a good or a bad picture in front of the reader. Now, how can we structure a descriptive essay? Like all other essays, first of all, obviously, you have to select a subject, you have to select a topic on which you want to write. The topic should be of your choice, and so if it is of not your choice, try to create your interest in it. Then you should have good knowledge of the topic that you are going to write about. For example, if you are going to write about a person, you should have good knowledge about that person. You should know him or her well. And if you are writing about a place or person, you should have knowledge about it as well. So observation actually is the key to writing a good description, because if you are observing it well, it is going to give you words that are going to appeal to the sights and to the sounds and to the smells of the readers. So you actually have to appeal these senses. A descriptive essay paints a picture, as we already said, using descriptive devices and senses. There are some descriptive devices, figurative language, figurative devices that we will discuss in this lecture as well. You have to write a thesis statement like all other essays, because thesis statement is going to tell that what is going to come next in the essay. You have to make your point clear from the very beginning, that what's going to be discussed in this essay. So you have not to make it a mixture of many ideas. You have to discuss one thing. Like for example, if you have to discuss that wooden roller coaster, so let's tell us this in the beginning. The wooden roller coaster in Coney Island is a work of art. Or if you want to talk about your bedroom, tell us that you are going to talk about your bedroom and also give us its main idea. Like my bedroom is an ocean sanctuary, like it's like a shelter for you, a very peaceful place where you can feel relaxed and safe and feel sheltered. Now you have to use some dominant details. What can be the dominant details of your bedroom? What can be the dominant details of this wooden roller coaster? You have to select the dominant details according to your thesis statement. If you are writing about your bedroom as some shelter, as some peaceful place or shelter, you should select some dominant details which are adding to the peace and shelterly nature of your bedroom. Then second thing, or third thing, that you have to organize the details. The paragraphs should be well structured. You can either organize the paragraphs spatially, which means that from top to the bottom or from near to far. For example, if you are describing the room, so you can start describing this bedroom. You can start giving description from top right corner and then move forward. If you're describing a person, you can start description from head or from hair, from eyes, and then move on. So you can give description spatially as well. So, or chronologically, you can also give description chronologically if it is a narration or if you want to describe some event. So, for example, if you want to describe the event of the marriage ceremony of your brother or sister, obviously you are going to tell it chronologically, that okay, first this thing happened and then this thing happened and that, and there too you have not only to give narration, you have to add some very good descriptive words, which we are also going to see in the next slides. Now use descriptive words. You have not to use vague words, vague or unclear words or general words, which these such types of words will not appeal to the senses of the readers. These are not going to create an effect and a good impression of your essay. So we have to use some effective words. Now here are the words which are here are some ineffective description. What can be ineffective description and what can be effective description. Now ineffective description will use dull or ordinary vocabulary, and it will lack some sensory information, and it also fails to provide logical sequence and provides excessive detail, whereas effective description gives us accurate nouns, accurate verbs, and accurate modifiers or adjectives. Modifiers are the adjectives. Now here we are going to take an example. Here is a sentence where some dull verbs or dull modifiers have been written, like I went up the beach past colorful rocks and then I could see him looking into an old log. Now there are few things which are vague. For example, I went up the beach. This went is not telling us how I was feeling when I went there. I mean, how, whether I was comfortably going there or uncomfortably going there. Then who looked? I could see him looking into. So who is looking at? What kind of colors? Past colorful rocks. You have simply told colorful rocks. Which colors were these fascinating colors? Were the colors pink or brown or purple? What sort of colors these were? Then how was the action done? How did you do it actually? So we are now going to see a better version of this sentence. Now here we are saying I stumbled a little woozily up the beach. Now stumbled is different from went. Now stumbled means that now you are walking in an stumbled a little woozily means that you are walking in a little unsteady manner. You are not walking straight. You are walking unsteadily and up the beach, clambering over the boulders. Now it means that the place where you were walking, it was not flat, it was having boulders, was having pieces of rocks, and you were like clambering, you were like climbing over them with difficulty or awkwardly, you were climbing over them awkwardly. Now boulders of quiet hallucinatory colors. Now those pieces of rocks are actually of hallucinatory colors, of colors which will take you into a feeling of dream. So and then from my new vantage point means a somewhat higher point, I saw Mark away in the distance on his knees and peering. Now see, looking has not been used. Peering, he was trying to search something into an old log. Okay, now ineffective vocabulary. Ineffective vocabulary, or we should not use vague nouns like thing, tell us what thing, or method. Tell us what method did you use. So you have to try to use some particular verbs which are, or words which are trying to, which should actually create a picture in front of the reader. Our the whole job in descriptive essay is to try to create a picture. Okay. um, Now, accurate nouns. Now, see here, instead of simply saying flowers, you could say water lilies, or you could say spiky purple flowers. Both the expressions could be used, both would be better than simply saying flowers. Now, dull verbs. What can be the dull verbs? For example, again, like I went up to the beach, it's a similar example. I walked to the store. Now, this walked is not telling me whether the person or me, whether I was willing to go to the store, or whether I was sick, or whether I was very excited, very energetic. How did I walk to the store? So, here is an improved version, revised version. I can say I slogged to the store. It means that now I had to put a great effort because I was tired. I was actually walking heavily because of the fatigue and tiredness. Then another example, she ran to answer the phone. Instead of saying ran, I can simply, we can replace like she sprinted to answer the phone. It's not like that you will master these verbs overnight. You will obviously have to practice it. How can you practice? So for example, once you have written the first draft of your descriptive essay, you can encircle the boring verbs and try to replace them with more meaningful verbs. Now, how will you replace them with more meaningful verbs? You will use a dictionary or a thesaurus. A thesaurus generally has synonyms of a word which are going to tell you, or you will find you will most probably find a synonym which will be suitable to your description. And then don't use dull adjectives. Like it's very occasional or very common to say that it was a good day. Now, what's good about that day? Please describe. Please tell us that what good thing actually it had. So we could probably say like the cool breeze welcomed me in the morning. The sun and the clouds in a naughty mood, sorry, it's in naughty mood, were playing hide and seek, and the lush green trees were smiling generously at me. So now I'm correcting it as well. In a naughty mood were smiling at me. So it actually, now it is actually telling me that okay, this is something which made my day good. So it is not simply it was a good day. A good day for me could be like sleeping whole day, or a good day for you could be like shopping all day, or could be for anybody else to meet with the friends. So we need to clarify, we need to paint a picture what good was there. Now, adjectives. Now, we should add adjectives and adverbs to make an action more prominent, because they are going to change the way an action actually happened. So, for example, if you just say he spoke, or if you say he spoke softly, or or if it is not like he spoke softly is not so descriptive. If you say he did not speak loudly or hysterically, it seems more descriptive. So we have to try to be more we should try to elaborate whatever we want to say more with some words which might appeal to the sense of the reader, or to the imagination of the reader. Now, sensory information, as we had said in the beginning, that we have to provide some sensory input to the reader. We have to, now what kind of words can be sensory words? the words which are going to appeal to your sense of sight, sense of smell, taste, feeling, or sound. For example, if you're talking about a dress, you'll talk about its color, you'll talk about its texture, you'll talk about how did it feel, it felt smooth, or or if you are talking about the surface of some table, you will say that its surface felt rough. So you have to tell the things clearly. Okay, now here is an example of where the sensory details have been given. Now, the smell of the bush, the smell of the dust and grass caught heart as it always did. Now, I have highlighted the words which are actually appealing to the senses. Now, smell of the bush and the smell of the dust and grass, these are appealing to the sense of the smell of the reader. And now there was added a whiff of wood smoke. Now there was an essence of wood smoke as well. Now that marvelous acrid smell that insinuates itself through the still air of morning as people make their breakfast and warm their hands by the flames. Now you see that acrid, the strong smell that insinuates itself through the still air. You see, again, still air is also describing air, that the morning air is quite peaceful and still, is not, there is no hustle and bustle there. So it is this particular paragraph is actually appealing to the sense of smell. Okay, now look at this next one. Look at this next one. In this particular paragraph, we can, if you like, you can omit something as well. Now, for example, here it is mentioned like, I tentatively approached the door. It had a smooth egg-shaped brass doorknob and turned without resistance. So here the author is talking about the doorknob, that it was so smooth, its shape was like egg, like egg, and its knob was made of brass. Now I pushed open the door and looked around the room that smelled of rose water. I turned and walked with creaking footsteps. Now you see, creaking footsteps, the footsteps are making sound. You are not walking just silently. When you are walking, these are making creaking sounds, appealing to your sense of hearing. Across the hallway to the next door, down on my right, at the 2 o'clock position. Now you see, it's quite an exact description that the reader will be able to imagine that what can be the 2 o'clock position in the clock. So this particular paragraph is also descriptive in nature, though there is some unnecessary detail like, I tentatively approached the door. You can omit some of the details from this sentence, but still it is a well written paragraph. Now we will see how can we use figurative language in a descriptive essay. Figurative language means we have to use some figures of speech which are used in literature, which generally are used by the poets or authors to make their piece of writing more impressive, effective, and appealing. Now, the figures of speech are simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, understatement, and onomatopoeia. Now, simile we will discuss first. In simile is like istiara in Urdu, where it's like tashbih in Urdu, where you are comparing something, and to compare things we use words like as or like, and so for example, here is it written, a ride to North Hutchinson Island is like a flight to Caribbean Gateway. Or you can also say, her hair are like a cascade. Or for example, you can say, her eyes shined like a diamond. So when you are using the words like as or like, you are actually comparing or using a simile. Then in metaphor, we imply a comparison between two things that are essentially different. For example, stalking their prey, the diptes remained hidden in the bushes and ready to spring on speeding motorists. Now, here you can see that enemy has been, the word prey has been used directly with instead of enemy. So if you are not using the words like as or like, it means that you are actually using metaphors. And then, and ready to spring on, the instead of jump we have used like spring on speeding motorists. Now who hides in bushes? Generally the some sort of animal, maybe some kind of animal hiding in the bush, who will quickly spring on speeding motorists. So here some characteristics have been given to the diptase directly. uh, Now, the words like or as have not been used. In personification, we give some human characteristics to inanimate objects, inanimate or non living objects. For example, the truck covered with mud and love bugs cried out for a wash. Or, for example, if I say, now you see here that truck, how can truck can cry? Or if I say, the tree smiled, or for example, the sun smiled at the helplessness of the people, or the clouds were playing hide and seek. Now how can clouds play? They are inanimate objects. So whenever you are giving human characteristics to some other inanimate object, it will be personification. So exaggeration or hyperbole, it's a figure of speech in which exaggeration is used for emphasis, like I'll die if I don't pass this exam. Or if you say, oh my god, I'm burning with fever. So you are not actually burning, you are not actually dying, you are just exaggerating it, you are just over stating it, overemphasizing it. Understatement, understatement is that you are writing something opposite to what is expected, or say something less than yesterday. So for example, if yesterday it was too cold, the temperature was, let's say, minus 10 degree, and you say yesterday was a little cool, so you are actually understating something. Then onomatopoeia. Now here we use words which imitate the sounds that they are associated with. For example, plop plop, fizz fizz, or what a relief it is. So now these are the sounds. Or for example, some other words can, onomatopoeic words can be buzz, like buzzing sound of bees. Now buzz, or like creaking sound, or like banging. So these are some of the words which are actually imitating the sounds. Now we will look at a sample of descriptive writing essay. After looking at this sample, you should try to write a descriptive essay of your own. You can write an essay either on a place, on a person, on an event, anything that you feel about. So if you are having some associations, some feelings about something, you will really be able to write a good description. Now here is the sample descriptive essay. Now just look at its title. It's very creative. Summer escape. Now just the title is so descriptive. It's not just telling you a trip or a visit or something like that. It is actually telling that it is a summer escape. It was a sort of escape. It's telling about your feelings. Okay, and then now let's start reading it. My family has always looked forward to leaving Florida during the torrid summer months. Now, in this particular essay, I have highlighted the words to show the use of figurative language and the use of sensuous language. The words highlighted in red are sensuous words, the words highlighted in blue are are different figures of speech used. Now torrid summer months, torrid means extremely hot. Now you see, just it's not just been said summer months, it's been said torrid months, which are unbearable. Now it's a tremendous relief. It's not just a relief, it's a tremendous, a great relief to get out of the heated hustle and bustle. Now you see, it's just not hustle and bustle of the city, it's heated hustle and bustle. It's doubling the misery. actually, that it's hustle and bustle, noisy, and plus it's heated as well. Each summer, we follow the yellow brick road to our hometown in upstate New York. As we drive through state after state, it becomes apparent that the world around us is changing. In South Carolina, we already begin to notice changes. The trees appear to be touchable. Now you see, you can touch those trees. It's a sort of giving you a description. You can imagine that the trees were so filled with leaves that you can touch them, offering soft plush leaves. Now leaves are soft as well as lush green, which sway in the breeze. Now they also sway, they also move when the breeze is blowing. And the grass actually invites. You see here a personification has been used. Grass actually invites. How can the grass invite? Grass is actually an inanimate being, so it is also when it is inviting you, so a personification has been used. In grass invites us to share its place rather than scaring us. Again, scaring is a personification, scaring us away with mounds of intruding fire ants. So now there are no ant homes, no ant hills. There are, so the grass is inviting them. It's not scaring them away. Okay, as each state brings new surroundings and anticipation builds, and home seems closer all the time, leaving the flatlands. Now you see flatlands. Flatlands have been left, and now it means some hilly area is going to start. Okay, and entering an area where we are suddenly surrounded by hills. Now you see hills, not only hills, hills of purple and blue. Now these are not brown hills or black hills. These are purple and blue, are by far the most awakening moments. Now that you will get, even if you are feeling sleepy during your travel, you will feel awakened. You will start enjoying the nature. Virginia and Pennsylvania offer brilliant scenery with majestic hills and checkerboard farmlands. Now majestic, very very large and great. And checkerboard is an area which is very large. As we descend through the curves and vines of the northern region of the United States, now you are descending, you are going downwards. Now the word roads has not been used over here, instead curves and vines has been used. So another figure of speech has been used over here. Now home is now very close and we are almost there. Suddenly we have driven from wide open. Now these are, so the land in Florida were wide open. They have driven from wide open land, flatlands, to a narrow, winding road surrounded by hillsides of stone and trees. Now you see that road is narrow, that road is winding, twisting road, and it is also surrounded by hillsides, hills and stones and trees. Such a mesmerizing, such a fascinating scene it has been created. Now around every curve, orange and black tiger lilies. Now you see orange and black tiger lilies. Now a kind of tiger, and their color has also been described, so it's appealing to your sense of sight. Now lilies claim. Now these flowers claim. Again a personification has been used. How can flowers claim? Claiming is a property of humans. So claim their place in the world as they push themselves out toward the car, waving hello and flashing their mysterious black spots towards us as we drive by. So now the flowers are claiming that they are part of the world. Flowers are pushing themselves towards the car, flowers are waving hello, flowers are flashing their mysterious black spots towards us. So you see, flowers are doing all the things that a human can do. A personification has been used here. Now next is the journey home is almost complete. As we begin our final descent, now they are going downward finally through the state of Pennsylvania into upstate New York, the surroundings become comfortably familiar. Before long, we are welcomed by a sign that reads Waverly 18 miles, that only now 18 miles are read. Now, it has been clearly told that not much distance is now left, or it has not been said that now a little distance was left. So, it has been clearly mentioned how much was left. And the familiar fields of grazing cattle, that now the fields which are familiar, and now grazing cattle, that these are the fields which are not empty, there are always cattle which are grazing. Through the last stretch of Pennsylvania, the bursting foliage seems to envelop. Now, bursting foliage is like too many plants. The too many plants are bursting there, and they are enveloping you, enveloping us, and carry us over the hills like a carriage created by the nature. Such a beautiful simile, metaphor which has been used, that nature or the plants are carrying you as if you are sitting in a carriage, or in a sitting in a carriage, or sitting in a, let's imagine sitting in a car of plants and trees and greenery, and it was not your car actually. So it is at this point that our family, even the youngest member, knows that our vacation in the New York is about to begin. Our eldest son has joked for years that he can smell grandma's cupcakes. Now grandma's cupcakes, smelling again, it's an appeal to your sense of smell. Approximately 15 minutes pass, and our vehicle takes us over the final crest, over our final place. We see the small smokestack from the local factory. Now we can actually see that smoke which is rising from the local factory. As we cross the border of Pennsylvania and New York and are aware of our surroundings, a couple of turns later we are there. We have reached our destination. We are home. I hope students you would have enjoyed this such a beautiful descriptive essay. So I do not say that you will be able to write an essay like this after just one lecture of it. Practice makes us perfect. So I actually recommend you to select a topic, the topic of your choice, the topic that you like the most, and then try to write a descriptive essay on it. Write the first draft, revise it, make revisions, and then try to share it with your class fellows or with your teachers as well. Thank you very much.